Today I've got some good news. For those of you that are unaware, Team Fortress 2, one of the all-time classic games, has been having a botting problem that has made most servers literally unplayable. I saw a little bit of footage of it and I would rather run my testes over a cheese grater than play it. And so all the TF2 players decided to organize a protest. And Valve being Valve, I think everyone expected them to just kind of ignore it. But it looks like the protest worked because Valve has said that they're going to be taking action against the botters. So congratulations, they actually got Valve to do something. Yay! Team Fortress 2 devs finally respond to botting controversy after in-game protest. Listen, as much as I would love to pretend that Valve is doing this out of the kindness of their heart, they're just being super sweet and coming back to fix the game. What I think happened here is the protests started to get larger and larger. They got Save TF2 trending on Twitter. A bunch of people were flabbergasted that a game of this size could be in this state of disrepair. And they realized their wallets were going to be affected, so they were like, ah, crap, we got to fix this game. It seems like the Valve method right now is to release a game, let it get popular, make a bunch of money off community market transactions, and then just ignore it for as long as humanly possible until you're forced into a situation to fix it. TF2 really is, in my opinion, one of the most iconic PC games of all time. I think it's the game that, at least for me and my friends, was the first game you get when you get a computer because it's free. And the fact that Valve would ever let it get to the point where people are having to stage a huge protest and straight up not play the game is embarrassing. For how much money this game probably makes, the least they could do is take care of it. If people have been loyal to your game for 15 years, the least you could do is make it a playable experience. Anyone who's logged into TF2 in recent memory will be able to tell you that bots are a massive problem in the game. Not only are bots openly hacking, but they often bear racist and bigoted names as well as straight up advertisements. Try and get something done about it, the TF2 community staged a peaceful protest and got the hashtag SaveTF2 trending on May 26th. The next day, devs tweeted from the game's Twitter account for the first time in almost 2 years, promising action. Imagine looking at the state of a game you love and every single lobby is filled with bots with racist names that are hacking and just ruining the experience for everyone, or like an advertisement. And you keep trying to tweet it at Valve, you make videos about it, and they just don't really reply. In fact, the account they have for TF2 didn't tweet for 2 years. Certainly makes you feel like they really care about the game, doesn't it? I don't understand how Valve went from making absolute bangers, like some of the most classic games of all time, to letting them all get into a pretty crappy state. I mean, I love CSGO, probably my favorite game of all time, up there with Sly Cooper. So I know how it feels to have a neglected franchise. We're not as neglected as TF2, but come on, someone over at Valve, please start telling them to start updating things and fixing platforms. It's ridiculous to have games as popular as TF2 and as iconic as TF2 in a state where it's literally unplayable. The fact that they haven't tweeted in 2 years on the company account is flabbergasting. I quit Twitter, who cares? Nobody needs to know what I'm tweeting. It doesn't matter. I'm just some random dude on the internet. But if you have a platform that 50,000 people are playing on every day, I don't know how many players daily TF2 has, but people have inventories worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's a huge part of people's lives, People make content on the game, and it's just a total blackout from the people that make it. That really sucks, especially when there's issues like this going on. Over 35 TF2 content creators are gathering to hold a peaceful protest in hopes of getting the long-running FPS game back in good health by further driving public awareness around the botting issue. The protest goes ahead on May 26 on various social media platforms through Save TF2 from around 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The emphasis is on peaceful here, as the plan is for everyone to post about how much the game means to them and how much they care. You can expect to see such messages through the hashtag on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. This will be a very peaceful protest, just reminding everyone that we love the game. Don't send hate towards Valve, one of the organizers explains on Reddit. We will be representing the TF2 community, so let's do it right. So that's from a different article about the protest itself, and I think that goes to show just how polite the TF2 community is. Most video game communities, if the game had gotten to a state where there was bots hacking in every lobby and the game was ruined, would just be on Twitter calling out the devs, saying his mom's ugly, taking pictures of his dad off Facebook and photoshopping them into precarious positions. Most fan bases are psychotic. I don't support that, by the way. If you're somebody doxing the Fortnite dev, what's wrong with you? TF2. But that being said, the fact that this community went out of their way to make sure it was a peaceful protest with no hate sent to Valve, like, this isn't a community that's just hate mongering for no reason. Obviously, the game's gotten to a pretty bad state, but they still respect the company that made it. Which is a huge reason why I'm glad Valve at least replied to this one. Could you imagine if they ignored this? Alright, we organized a peaceful protest so that way they don't get too much hate. Valve just, like, fax machines them a printout of a middle finger. That's all they get back. Screw you, give me money. I think the protest got their attention, but I definitely think, too, the bad PR and the fact the player numbers have to have been dropping because of the botting issue is really why they're working on it. As somebody that really likes Valve games, it only seems like when it stops printing money is when they start working on it again. Either way, this was the tweet. TF2 community, we hear you. We love this game and know you do too. We see how large this issue has become and we're working to improve things. Bro, you're telling me that it took this entire tweet campaign and a protest for you guys to realize how bad the game has gotten? Is nobody there playing it? I've heard rumors that there's a very small team on TF2 over at Valve. But that being said, I assumed at least someone at the company was playing the game, you know what I'm saying? Alright guys, we get it. We understand this problem's been so bad for months that you guys have organized a huge protest and gotten it trending on Twitter to get our attention, and now we see how bad it is. I'm glad they're fixing it, but it is just funny the way they phrased it. Like, oh yeah, okay, we see it now. Before, when it was just making $80 million a month, we weren't paying attention. We were too busy counting our money, you know, Pablo Escobar style. But now that you guys are gonna stop buying weapon skins, we see it. Thank you for getting it trending on Twitter. If this is all it takes to get Valve to update a game, alright, we just gotta start organizing. Let's get Half-Life 3 trending, okay? Let's get a new Counter-Strike up there. Let's just get it all rolling, you know? If this is all it takes is a tweet storm. They really said, I know we haven't tweeted for 2 years and been ignoring the game, but you guys are really mad, so I guess we'll tweet now. The botting issue has gotten so bad that it's almost guaranteed you'll run into some while playing. It's also become so widespread that players have started calling the game unplayable. I don't know how people are still queuing in and playing it every day. I mean, I know for a lot of people it's like their favorite game of all time. It's their bread and butter. That being said, if CSGO or Valorant ever got to the point where like every single lobby was full of bots that were hacking, I don't know how long I could keep playing the game. Like, I love Call of Duty, but when stuff got bad there for a while, you know, like in Infinite Warfare, Ghosts, I took a break, and that was just a bad game. It wasn't even full of hackers or anything, so I couldn't imagine just dealing with it and playing a game through the amount of crap that the TF2 players have been going through. I guess it is different when you have all the cosmetics, you know, when your inventory on TF2 is worth 8 small cars, you kind of have to keep playing. Valve, please fix the game, the skin prices are dropping. Hey, they take a cut of those community market transactions, they're not trying to let that down. And listen, I'm not trying to be too cynical, I'm not trying to say Valve only cares about money, alright? They're just a company that only cares about money. They've made a lot of banger games, but I think Steam, being the money printer it is, doesn't really incentivize them to do a whole lot of work on the games. Why get a ginormous developer team and stick them on TF2 when you just get a small cut of every game bought on your platform? Valve didn't elaborate on exactly what they plan to do about the botting problem, whether it's to devote more resources to combating it or expand the tiny team allocated to keeping the game running. At this point, they have to put in more resources, even if it's temporarily. They at least have to give them the developers to fix the issue. Who I feel really bad for is the team of probably like 3-4 developers working on TF2. They've been telling the boss, hey man, it's in a really bad state, we need more help, there's only 3 of us, and they're like, yeah, whatever, the numbers look good. I think in a game like TF2, as popular as it is, it's always got a lot of people online, it should always have enough of a dev team to at least keep it running and fix critical issues like this. What's the point of having a team develop a game if the team isn't even big enough to prevent like a huge hacking wave that literally has all the players and content creators organizing a protest? You understand how understaffed this game must be to even get to that point, or neglected. Either like no one at Valve cares, or the team is so tiny that it can't do anything. And TF2 is such a huge franchise, I feel. Maybe it's not as popular, maybe I'm out of touch. But I'm sure the community market transactions alone would validate having a decent dev team on it, decent sized dev team. Not that the developers are bad. I'm just sure when there's 3 of you for a game of this size, it's not too pleasant. So whoever's over at Valve, it's probably time to put a bigger team on it. It's that important of a game, and I'm sure it's still making money. Like, I'm not gonna pretend. Let's say TF2 was costing them $8 million million a month and making no money, I could understand why they're like, look, we're going to take away the developer team. But that's just not the case. It's still making bands. The simple fact they finally acknowledged it is huge news for players who had all but given up on any kind of action being taken, and hopefully this means the bots get taken care of and TF2 can once again be playable for actual humans. I think any Valve game's always going to start to run into issues with bots too, just because of the drop system. Like, theoretically, if you had an army of computers idling in TF2, hacking, whatever, you could make money off of the drops. It'd probably be pretty difficult, but I think from what I understand, that's what a lot of these bots are, is things just trying to get drops so they could sell it on the marketplace. That needs to be addressed because I'm sure it's not good for the market either. Getting the game to a playable state should be priority number one, but the issue with TF2 is there's so many things that rely on the game itself, its entire economy and whatnot, that you really got to prioritize fixing it. I think if they let TF2 continue to go down the crapper and they really burn people bad on it, the reputational damage would be really bad. I don't know who is going to trust Valve after everything if they let TF2 be ran into the ground and do nothing about it after they organized a protest and tried to do it the right way. They weren't mad, hey guys, please be nice, you're representing the TF2 community. It sounds like a Pokemon character doing a PSA, that's how polite it was. And I respect it, but if Valve decides to dookie on him at this point, then like, alright, then we know what kind of company this is. It's just another Blizzard Activision situation. Overall, kudos to the players for organizing it. I'm sure organizing a bunch of angry gamers to stay polite is difficult. And even in general, just organizing a protest of that scale is probably not easy. So kudos to them for that, and at least Valve is pretending to listen. Hopefully they follow through with it. I'm not trying to be too pessimistic. It's just Valve, so at the end of the day, it's like, they might not do anything. On that note, though, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below, and of course subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. I've been on the double daily upload grind, you know, I'm still on it, so if you want to tag along, subscribe. On that note, though, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.